fault code 3. Said they've been resetting it and blowing the coil out. Looks like number 3 says it's a high limit temperature. So I'm going to start with all my basics. Go through here and see. Water filter looks like it's seen better days. I'm going to assume that I've got something on the water side, whether it be that pump or a water flow issue. Only because it's probably 60 degrees in the room I'm in. Exhaust fan is running to exhaust on the condenser side. So we're going to have to dig into it a little more. Let me get both hands on the wheel and see what we can find with this thing. So we're just going to verify all our basics here. Let her run and lock out one more time. That lockout number 3 was the fluid temperature lockout. It got too high. It's a little discolored, doesn't look terrible. I've got a new filter for it, but I want to let it run for a minute and just verify what we've got going on. This is going to be my fluid temperature. That's PSI. I'm not sure exactly what this control's reading. So that's my set point of 100. And I'm at 106. These are going to be my sensors down here. I think this is going to be temperature. See what we got flow wise. Yeah, so that looks like temperature as well. It's getting towards 100 degrees, which is what my digital screen's telling me. That's gallons per minute. About 70 psi coming out. I do have a clear sight glass. Like compressor's not running. I said I had a clear sight glass. It's clear, it's not running. It should be, but I got no power here. Which it's just my pump running, and the machine tries to keep it cool, cause an issue. So get our meter out and see what we got going on in there. Where we're at, guys. Pump contactor folder seem to have pretty good flow. This contactor here is fed from the main control board, CNP out. Not getting power to energize that contactor, which that contactor in turn puts power to this Emerson control, and then the Emerson control controls the compressor contactor. If I manually push that contactor in, everything comes on. Compressor cycles normally, as far as I can tell. I didn't let it run too long, but I'm not getting power to that contactor there. So seems like it's going to be a board issue at this point. The troubleshooting guide in the manual is less than helpful, so I'm going to have to try to get a hold of some technical support and see if somebody can verify that it is the board and nothing. I don't see anything else on this thing that should be holding me out. I've got power into the contactor as far as high voltage, just no coil voltage. My pump runs Aside from the normal stuff, I'm not getting any alarms. The alarm was high temperature every time, and that's obviously due to my condenser not running. So I think I've got a board issue. We're gonna try to contact the manufacturer. I'm not real familiar with this DuraChill brand, but we're gonna see what other information we can get and see where we go from there. So here's where we're at, guys. I cannot get a hold of the manufacturer. I got somebody still trying. I don't see anything in the literature that says this will hold me out as far as the water temperature goes, or the fluid temperature. So I have seen these process chillers, if they get too high of temperature just for load and compressor protection, they won't operate. So I'm gonna cool the water down, go ahead and pop this loose, change our water filter, and go from there. Once my temperature comes down, if I can verify that I got no voltage coming out of the board, I'm gonna assume still that it's the board. The only other thing I need to check is my flow switch, even though just verifying visually from my flow meter here and my lines when that pump comes on, it's I'm flowing fluid. So but just make sure I don't have an issue with the flow sensor. So let's get a filter in, let that water cool down a little bit, and see where we go. Alright, so filter's been changed. Got my meter on the output right now of my flow. So basically, if I look at my diagram here, this is my HEF, which is my flow sensor, and I got supply voltage and an output voltage on it. I'm assuming it's DC. That doesn't give me any information in the manual on this, but I've got 5 volts DC going on my input. I'm not getting anything on my output. If I'm kind of moving this wire around, I'm seeing it jump in there every once in a while at 2.8. I'm wondering if this flow meter doesn't have an issue in it. I can't get it to stay. I don't know that it looks like it's all internal there. I may be able to take the back off. I have to shut it down and take a look at this and just verify this stuff. I got good connections in there, because that may be my issue. Again, still no response from any kind of tech support or anybody to try to help me with this thing. So I'm working my way through it slowly, but temperatures drop since I had the ice in it. It started about 98 degrees. That's got nothing to do with what's going on. It's been running the pump for a good while now, and I'm still not getting any output. So we're gonna keep on going and see what we can find. So they've been resetting this thing for, hell, I've got my water turned off. I need to turn that off. So I got compressor to run. I'm trying to burn up a pump because I didn't open my damn valves back up. I pulled the strainer out just to check it. The strainer's clean. What I found is they've been resetting this thing for weeks. They finally called. What they thought they were changing was the high limit was actually, it's going to show me my fluid temperature in a minute, it's 103. So they were changing this, which is my temperature set point, not the high limit. So after a whole lot of diagnosis, this one wasn't too interesting, but we checked all our basic stuff. We're gonna watch and make sure the sight glass and all that good stuff is gonna be okay. I've got power now, so have a bubble on the sight glass a little bit. That's a solenoid valve kicking in. I'm not sure why that's happening, but could have a refrigerant issue. You might grab a leak detector and check, but I got to the point, coming back. I got to the point where at least I got power now. So after I undid everything the maintenance guys did, so let's continue on and see if we can't figure out why the solenoid's clicking. So I've yet to do a leak check, but this is concerning on my liquid line. Starting to frost up on the outlet of that dryer. It's like that dryer's restricted. Got my pressure up. It was kicking the compressor out on low pressure. It's 5 psi and cuts out. Right now, I was reading some more of the literature, and it's got a low temperature operating range of 60 degrees. My ambient temperature is right at 64. Doesn't look like this is hot gas discharge. It doesn't look like that valve's been adjusted. I haven't adjusted or changed anything yet. You can see I'm frosting in my TXV. So I could have a refrigerant leak, possibly in that evaporator, and that's gotten into my liquid line, caused some restriction on my dryer. I was trying to get the pressure up just to see how it was going to operate. It's been running for about 15 minutes now. I got the condenser blocked off partially just to see how it would react. So we're going to continue on with this thing, just watch it for a little while and see if anything changes. Might be a refrigerant side issue. It doesn't look like I have any oil or any leaks anywhere. This is all self-contained unit and it's inside, so no rust on the receiver, accumulator, or anything. So again, we're going to watch it for a little while. We might get a hold of tech support. I did finally find a number. We've at least got it running. I'm going to run my temperature up and do a few more checks and see if anything changes. So my frost went away. But now that I've got my pressure up, about 15 psi, I've got a noticeable temp difference across my dryer. It's pretty obvious with the frost, but I'm still got a flash in the sight glass. So I've got a leak somewhere. We're gonna have to leak check this thing. Like I said, to restrict that dryer, I would almost think it's got to be on the low side. This thing shuts off at 5 psi anyway, so I shouldn't have drew too much contaminants in. It makes me suspect that the evaporator might have a leak. My dryer's undoubtedly plugged up, so let's get a leak detector out and go from there. We may be looking at having to do some repairs to this thing. Gonna have to start with the dryer and see if we can't find a leak. So I got no hits on this thing. Everything looks good. Hooked measure quick up, but I don't know why they give me a valve. I've never seen one like this. And I don't know if it's just corroded and rusted, but I tried kind of scraping it out. There's some kind of junk inside that suction port. So I can't get a suction reading. I guess I'm gonna have to superheat it from my pressure transducer and just trust that it's correct. My next step was just to try to get refrigerant in it, even though I had a temperature drop across this dryer. When I raised my pressure, the frost went away and it got better, but So here we are, guys. We're gonna get this thing recovered, change that dryer out, and then go from there. I gotta get rid of that restriction. This thing holds 1,800 grams, 134. That's about 3 pounds, 15 ounces. I got 2 pounds out of it now, so I don't think we're gonna have a leak, but something has gotten into that dryer and it's causing my issue. So we're gonna get the dryer changed out and new refrigerant back into it and see what happens at that point. So I didn't get much video on that, but we got the new dryer in. It's just too tight of a space to do too much, but currently holding a pressure test just above 100 psi. We're gonna let that sit for a while just to verify it holds and I don't have any leaks. I don't hear anything or see anything obvious, so we'll let her hold and then we'll pull a vacuum on it and see where we go from there. It's not that old, so I don't suspect it's gonna have a leak. I'm not sure what got into the dryer to cause my issues, but this is a process chiller, so just 3/4 inch tubing runs down underneath the floor over to a laser cutter of some sort that keeps the machine cool. So we'll get a vacuum started and see where we go from there. This isn't the best setup with no suction port. I don't know what the hell's in there, if that's solder or it doesn't look like corrosion. I tried to get that crap out, but it is in there solid, so I don't know. We're just gonna do what we can, trust our transducer, and dryer is plugged. You guys won't be able to see it, but maybe a little bit. You can see some crap down in there. I can't hardly blow through this thing, so it's definitely got some crap inside of it. So after putting some refrigerant pressure on it, I was leaking on my first pressure test very slowly, about half an hour, just a few psi. I did come up with a leak on my king valve here. Not come up with anything else. I've been holding for about 20 minutes with got some Nylog on there and a good seal for that, and I'm holding just over 100 psi, like I say, for about 20 minutes. So we're gonna go ahead and pull a vacuum on this guy. I think that's gonna be my only leak. I don't see anything else. I don't suspect that evaporator. Hope not. I can't check it anyways. It is a brazed plate. So we're gonna start pulling a vacuum and we'll get this guy charged, weighed back in, and go from there. So we hit about 500 microns, and I gave my compressor a shake here. You can see the oil. We got some of that nitrogen in it and maybe some refrigerant left over. It's boiling out of there, so we're dropping back down now. I'll probably give my compressor another shake and let this thing pull for a little bit longer. Make sure we get it on vacuum, and we'll get her charged up. Alright, so moment of truth, we got we hit 500 microns. I got 4 pounds in it. Turn her on, see what happens. See what my actual temperature is. 71. So we're gonna leave that down right now. I'm gonna have them put a load on it here shortly, but I want to see it run first. I did check the laser itself. That looks a lot better. The laser itself calls for 25 to 35 degrees Celsius cooling water. So we're going to leave it set about 86 degrees or so. Blowing something. I'm not restricted no more. I feel a whole lot more heat coming out of that condenser too. suction line. My suction line temp was, that was 79 degrees previously. Calculate my superheat, but I like the 60-degree line much better than the 80-degree I had. My solenoid's not clicking anymore. Oh, it's still bubbling slightly, but it looks much better. It's starting to clear up a little bit. Pressure looks a lot better. And I'm rejecting some heat, so oh yeah, I'm definitely dropping temp a lot quicker now. I'm down to 60 already. So, just about to call this one good, guys. I don't know what got in my dryer. Like I said, the only leak I found was on that king valve. Those solenoids are gonna energize, de-energize periodically. From what I've read, they both feed the evaporator there, so I think it's going off temperatures and pressures, whatever algorithm's in the damn control. So we're gonna give it some load. We're gonna call this guy pretty good now. Sight glass is clearing up. We got a good cold suction line, so we're gonna verify superheat and all that good stuff. But thank y'all for watching me fumble through this thing. Never know what you're going to get yourself into, but start with the basics and work your way through it, and it's usually not too bad. So let me know what y'all think. Leave a comment below. If y'all want to see more like this, go hit the subscribe button. We'll see y'all on the next one.